All right, so this is going to be the start of a new channel that I'm making. It's called Build, Break, Repeat for coding. The point of this channel is going to be just kind of like keeping myself honest with coding in general. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing like around 30 minutes each day that I like make videos throughout the weekdays of just me just straight coding. This will be the first one to start everything off. I'll be posting a couple days throughout the week. And throughout the week, what I'm going to be working on is the same site. It'll be called ProductivityHub, what you can see on the screen right now. And basically, like I have a checklist of different ideas that I want to make for this site. I want to make it kind of like an all-in-one, so it'll cover multiple things that like I want to be able to use for myself, and then within that site as well, like once I get some of those things done, I'll be able to kind of mess with some other features that I'd like to start implementing or just like gain knowledge on. Um, some of the features that I want, and I'll go ahead and just start writing them down now, is I'm going to make a checklist. This checklist will be for stuff that's required for me for my school. I went to NSS. I did a 6-month boot camp to go like just to start coding and everything. And I have a checklist of things that I need to meet within each week, just showing that I'm doing like a good job at like looking for a job. And so within that, some of the things that I need are, so some of the things that I'll need for this checklist is I'm going to write this down as well. Within it, I'll be doing 8 different contacts or creating 8 different contacts throughout the week on LinkedIn. So what's listed here is recruiters, mentors, hiring managers, employees at companies of interest, or new contacts within LinkedIn. Another thing I'll need to check off is being available for interviews. That's kind of easy. I have like a very set schedule. Responsiveness, so that'll be different code tests and challenges on time, and I have to respond to different emails on time. So that'll be something that I'll implement into the site just for the emails. Another one is making sure that I'm coding each week. It requires at least 5 commits each week, and some of the point of this site is to meet and exceed that. I think that I very easily can with this site. And another one is applying to jobs. They require 8 jobs per month. Currently, I think this month I've applied to like 10. But the point of it is I want to be able to keep all this information on this site. And so, I'm going to try to see if I can figure out some sort of way to just jot down names of contacts that I have on here and be able to post it to the site. And then same thing with tracking GitHub activity within the site. So we'll see how that kind of goes because I'm not really sure just yet on how that is. And so that's the first like bulletin point that I want to check off with this website. Another one that I want to within this site, if I can get a bulleted list. I want to make a budgeting tracker. Within this, I'm just trying to keep control of my finances, and I find the easiest way is just to be able to like actually jot them down. I want to build out a system where I can enter in, my monthly how much I make, and kind of go over expenses that have to be paid versus what I can kind of cut on and everything. So some of the numbers that I'll put in here, they won't exactly be accurate. I just don't want to be like giving out all that information, but it is something that I want to build within this site. Another point of the site that I want to hit is messing with Capatcha. I have no experience with this, but it's something that I'm kind of interested in implementing into a site that I've never worked on before. And the reason that I want this is because I want to build out a form. So once you fill out that form, it will process an email for confirmation saying like, hey, we received your form like request and everything. And here's an email just kind of showing you, more information on what like you're looking for. And yeah, and then another thing that I want to do is mess with some tailwind and everything. I haven't done any tailwind at all. Most of my styling is just normal CSS. I haven't, done any type of frameworks for it yet necessarily. And then once I meet all these goals, I'll be working on more features. So I'll just put and more. And this will be kind of something, I'll look back into. We'll see if I come back to this very often. We'll save this. So this is going to be the name of the project that I'm working on. The goal of this is eventually continue working on this each week until I get a job. And then after that, I'd like to continue working on it because I do enjoy just working on these different projects like this. My current skill level, I think that I've kind of gone into, but basically I did a boot camp with Nashville Software School. It was like a 6-month-long boot camp, and it went over front end and back end. So it was a full stack development boot camp, and it kind of narrowed into JavaScript and using React. And then in the back end portion, the last 3 months, it was C# and .NET. So that's kind of where I am. Before that, I had probably about maybe like 6 months of some experience, not a lot of experience with coding. Literally like using HTML. That was basically about all I knew before all this, which that's not really like anything too crazy. I've been messing with computers for a long time now. About 10 years. I've built computers up from the ground. I've done a couple computers for family members from the motherboard up. And I've just always been intrigued. I feel like I always have like a good mind when it comes to computers. I just understand how all of it works. It kind of is like, I don't know, for me it's like building a car. Like you kind of like just, put specific parts in and then eventually it all kind of works. Not that it's that easy for a car. And so this project will be using VS Code, and I will be working with React and .NET and implementing some Tailwind. Gonna figure that out. Everything that I'm doing is gonna be recorded. It's been a little while since I've really like coded a lot of anything, to be honest. So it will be really rusty, and it'll probably be super rough. But that's going to be the entire point of this channel. I want it to be like pretty rough around the edges because I'm not doing this to like appease somebody or to like really like make videos like that. I'm just doing it so like one day in the future I can like look back and be like, wow, like that's where I started from doing things by myself. I will be using AI while making this. My goal isn't to solely rely on AI while building everything, but kind of use it for when I get to points that like I'm not sure of what I'm doing. And so that's kind of like the basic of throughout the weekdays. I haven't decided what I'm going to do on the weekends, but I do know that what I want to do is on Sundays, I'm going to give myself about an hour of time and that'll be something either recorded a video or live streamed. Not sure yet. But basically, what I'm going to be doing is give myself that hour, and I'm going to start a project from scratch within that hour, and go all the way from, hopefully, like literally nothing to a full built website within that hour. Kind of look it over, and whatever progress I make within that hour, I'll look at it, and then delete everything and restart the next Sunday. And so those will be videos that will come out on Sundays and just kind of show my growth within that as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I've got right now. I've already kind of got a little bit of an ERD figured out for this site. I just use DB Diagram. That's been just my kind of platform of choice when it comes to ERDs. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done any coding, so we'll see if this kind of goes the way that I want it to. But honestly, like, this is my own site, and if it's not amazing, it's not amazing. The whole point is to get better. So if I'm starting at quote unquote rock bottom of it, that's okay. That's fine with me. Yeah, because I can only get better from there. So this is going to be my ERD that I just went over and said that I kind of roughly made. So starting from the top down, it's just going to be users, and each user will kind of have their own history on the website. I want to make it to where once this is up on GitHub, each person can kind of look it over themselves and kind of explore the website without getting my information. And it looks like going from top left to top right, we'll have a join table of checklist lists, and the whole point is just taking a user, making sure that they're getting the right information for each checklist item, and then within that, that'll be the NSS checklist that we talked about, and then going down to budget accounts. We're not going to worry about the user sessions right now. I believe that's just going to be kind of showing like what user is who. But budget accounts, that'll be another join table between users and budget transactions. That'll be where the budgeting tracker is going to live. That's kind of the data for it and for everything, or the state, I should say. And it looks like the same thing for budget categories. So it looks like what it's doing is a user can create a different category, and that's why it's tied to a user ID, because it's going to be able to be like, hey, this user made this category, and then within that, it will have within budget transactions the category ID, and so that'll display the name of the category. So you can kind of like configure it how you want for different budgeting needs. And then the last one that I have on here, if I scroll down some, is email submissions. This will basically just be the entire like email form and CAPTCHA. I hope I'm saying that right, because I got no idea. I just see it and I just go with it. But basically, that's just going to be where all of that's living. So that's kind of the idea right now for the site. And then hopefully within this, because I'm doing this sort of system of having join tables and just using the primary key ID off of a user, I'll be able to create more things within this site instead of having it just flat, like just having one big table of data. So far in my career, this is what I've found to be like the best way to do everything. And yeah, so I'll kind of get into creating the project now. All right, after a little messing around, making sure that I'm in the right path within my system, I've got to this workspace folder. This is where I kind of hold everything that I've worked on. So it's a lot of projects, as you can see right now, that I've done in the past. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to be making a new directory. We're just going to call it ProductivityHub. This will be for the front and the back end. And then we will CD into that. And then within here, I'll be doing the front end and the back end, like I said. So we're going to create two different files for that. So the first one we will just call hub front end. And then the second one will be hub back end. Let's see if that. Hub front end. Okay, well, we'll just do hub back end. All right, so now I have the front end and the back end. And just for the startup of this video, I mean, I just already have the commands. I'm using Vite. Like I said, I don't know a bunch of information about a lot of this stuff. This is just stuff that was taught to me. But so we are going to CD into the front end. And then this is the command that I found online. And it's just to create a React template. So, like I said, it's going to be called ProductivityHub. I'll let everything install. I'll come back when that's done. All right, so we're going to be making the front and the back end to this site. So let's see, we will go back. So we're in ProductivityHub. We're just going to use this command to create a React app. So the front end of it, we'll just call front end hub. This way, when I want to CD through everything, I just have to type F and then press tab, and it'll complete the name for me. So we'll just call it that. Okay. So now if we do ls, it comes up with front end hub, and like I said, I can just go boom. And then we will now work on getting the back end set up. All right, after getting that command, this will just be called backend hub. Create that. So now when we look, we have the front end and the back end of that. Within the back end, we're going to .NET run it, just to kind of initialize everything. So we're good there. And now if we cd, go back one, and do a code dot, you'll see we bring up both the back end and the front end. Sometimes I like having this view of being able to see both sides. Let me close this. Just because if I'm having issues between the front and the back end, what I typically like to do if I'm seeking help from AI to understand what's going on, really nice about this is using Copilot built in through VS Code is you can just drag your context that you want. So I'll drag both of these and explain whatever issue I'm having. I'll probably end up doing that a couple times throughout making all of this. But yeah, so this is just going to be the setup of it all. I'm also going to push this onto GitHub, so I'm going to start making a repository as well. Okay, I'm going to start working on making a repository on GitHub for all of this. That way I can push everything up there, keep my progress, and just kind of track within GitHub like how I'm doing and everything. I think what I'm wanting to do is a separate repository for the front and the back end. Yeah, that's just kind of the style that I've gone with so far. I think, okay, I'm now on GitHub. I'm going to start making a repository for this project. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put all of it into one repository since it'll be like its own application. That way, if somebody does go to pull this and they want to look at everything themselves, they'll get the front and the back end off of everything instead of just getting the front end and then having to look for a different repository and going down all that. I just think it makes sense for what I'm currently working on. So with that in mind, I'm just going to name it the same exact thing, which is, again, ProductivityHub. So go ahead and name it. I'm just going to leave it pretty simple for everything so far. I'm not going to add my own README. I believe React adds, or Vite at least, they add a README to everything. That'll be just configured. I'll just configure that later on because that's just like a sample README that goes in there. So we'll go ahead and create the repository. And so we're going to be pushing an existing from the command line. So we're going to want to copy all of this. So we'll go like this. Come back over. Copy that in. Let's see. Now we're going to want to do the top one. So we'll do git init within. Okay. Next step, I'm not going to bother with adding a README. Like I said, it's already in there within the front end. I'm not too worried about the README until I start like actually building all of it out. In fact, I'm going to make one for this since where I'm going to be pushing everything up is going to be holding the front and the back end. That way, this one will just kind of have like a, hey, like this is what the front and the back end kind of are, and then I'll link everything, within the README. Like click here to go to the back end, click here to go to the front end. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. So readme.md. Okay. We will do git commit -m first. We'll just do initialization of files. Okay, unchecked files. Okay, we'll do git add. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I actually went ahead and just kind of did that. I did some mining off screen, if you would say. But so basically I have it all linked up. So on GitHub, it'll be on there. I just need to make a initial commit, which was actually already done. So if I come over to GitHub, this should populate. So it's just got the README right now. But I want to do a git what is it called? Let's see, hold on. All right, so we're gonna do a git status. I just want to kind of look at what we're looking like right now. untracked files, so use git add in the file to choose what will be committed. Nothing to commit, but untracked files are present, so we'll do git add backend hub, git add frontend hub, and then git add ProductivityHub.son. Okay, so now if I do another git status, so this is what's going to be committed. So I want to do git commit dash m, and again, I'm just going to name it initialization. Then git push origin main. So now if we come back over to GitHub, we'll see we got the front end, the back end, and the SLN. I believe that is part of the back end. Let me see, what is SLN file for? Do that within .NET project. Okay, so it's going to group. It's used by VS Code to group one or more related projects within a single application or software suite. So, okay. Not sure I fully understand that right now, but I don't need to touch it. So, that's kind of everything that I want to touch at the moment. I really just wanted to kind of go over the process of setting everything up to begin with. In the next video, that'll be the one where I really kind of get into coding. But yeah, so, you know, if you did watch this, I appreciate you watching, and you know, I really want to like stay on this. So yeah, you know, one thing I will say is, you know, just a message for myself in the future is, I hope that you know, everything goes the way that we want it to. When it comes to, you know, getting the job in this field, I hope that, like, you know, that we don't have any sort of burnout or any type of feelings towards anything, and this continues to be our career. I genuinely, you know, at this stage of my life, really do love coding and everything. This has been really fun. And yeah, you know, I hope to be able to look back on this and be like, wow, I can't believe like that I let myself kind of fall off a cliff when it comes to coding and everything compared to how I was when I finished school. And I hope to be even better than when I was at the end of school once I'm looking back on all this. So, like I said, if you watched it, you know, I appreciate you watching, and yeah, thank you for coming to my first video. Bye.